Hello, friends. This is Sheriff Labrador and my faithful partner, Sheriff Dobie.
Hi guys, today we have something special for you. We are diving into the world of Roblox and playing the Escape Funnies Toy Shop mode.
In this mode, our main task is to escape from the creepy toy store, but it will be harder than it seems.
We'll have to hide and run from the terrifying toy that wants to trap us in its world.
Friends, hold on tight because it's going to be both fun and scary.
In this mode, we have 6 tough challenges, each testing our skills to the limit. We might even face the main toy boss at the end. It sounds frightening and exciting, but we can handle it because we are a team. We just turned on the lights to see better, and now we are heading into the ominous tunnel to find the exit.
This tunnel looks really spooky. I hope we don't encounter many traps.
The main thing is to be careful and stick together. Friends, keep your fingers crossed for us. A real challenge lies ahead.
What are these tracks? Some monster sneaked into the ventilation and left its tracks here. Maybe we could crawl through there and find the exit right away. But the vent is closed. We'll have to go through this creepy tunnel with broken pipes. Dobie, are you afraid to jump through this hot air?
No, I'm not afraid. Do you think I'm a coward? We've gone through many scary modes together. I'm almost used to them. By the way, it's better not to look down right now. Wait, do you hear that? Or is it just me?
I don't hear anything. We've encountered a real challenge. A scary maze, guys. This maze is not only complicated, but also full of dangers. A huge, terrifying toy will chase us if we don't find the exit in time. It will turn us into its toys.
This challenge will require our maximum mental and physical strength. The maze is huge, and we must be very careful to find the exit as quickly as possible. But don't worry, Labrador and I will guide you. And remember, friends,
this is just the first challenge in this mode. Ahead of us are many difficulties and puzzles. We must be ready for anything and never give up.
Hey, Labrador, this parkour is really tough. It seems we are facing the hardest challenges in this mode.
Indeed, Dobie, but this is just the beginning. We have a lot more ahead of us. By the way, do you remember what our friends said about the next challenge?
Oh, yes. They mentioned something about red and green colors. They said it's one of the most interesting challenges here. We need to be ready for anything.
I remember they said these colors are related to choosing a path or solving puzzles. We need to be alert and use our brains.
Exactly, Labrador. Let's leave the parkour behind and get ready for the next challenge. Remember, teamwork and attentiveness are our best allies here.
Absolutely, Dobie. Let's move forward. New challenges await us, and we must prove that sheriffs are not easily broken. Green light. Run, Labrador. Oh, wait, red light. Stop and don't move. Green light. Run, Dobie. Run. Just a bit more. You can do it. Oh no, stop, red light. No way out, or as they say. Or as...
Labrador, I almost lost because of you. Is something wrong with your reactions? The green light was on, and you only mentioned the red. Do you not know the difference between green and red?
Ha ha. Sorry, Dobie. I got a bit confused. Next time I'll pay more attention to the signals. Don't worry. I'll react faster in the next challenge.
We've passed the second challenge of this strange living toy, and now we just need to climb up and start the third challenge. Honestly, I thought it would be easier. This is the hardest challenge for us.
You're right. I hope you guys are subscribing to our channel and liking our efforts. These challenges are really tough, but the third challenge will be 100 times harder. I doubt our friend told the truth.
Hey, Labrador, look what's ahead. Our task is to climb this tower of toy blocks before this Titan toy robot catches and crushes us. Okay, Labrador, let's look at our options. These columns of blocks can be our cover. We can run between them to avoid the robot's grasp.
Great idea, Dobie. We can also use these toy blocks to slow down its movement. Throw them at its feet to create obstacles and gain valuable seconds.
Right, Labrador. And don't forget about teamwork. Coordinate our actions. One of us distracts the robot while the other circles the edge of the tower. This way, we can split its attention and gain more time.
Exactly, Dobie. Let's get to it. Let's show this robot who the real sheriffs are. Stick to the plan, and we'll definitely succeed.
Only 6 seconds left. I'm sure we can survive. If not, Labrador, you were the best friend I've ever had. Hooray! We managed to outsmart the Titan robot. Honestly, it was pretty dumb. Just a clumsy piece of metal destroying everything in its path.
I think we shouldn't have opened this door. It's really creepy here. It looks like the place where we need to find an exit and escape from the main character of this mode. Wish us luck, subscribers.
Hey, Labrador, look who's chasing us now. It's a living toy, and it's after us through this abandoned toy warehouse. We need to keep moving and not let it catch us, or we'll be its next victims.
Wow, Dobie, this is really terrifying. Let's use our knowledge and experience to get out of this situation. We must find a way to dodge it.
I see a machine ahead. Could it be an escape route? No, it doesn't look like it. There's lava down there. How is there lava in a toy store? Some monster must have created it while we were driving.
I wanted to tell you something yesterday. We received a call from the toy store owner. He said toys started disappearing, and all the surveillance cameras were turned off. This prompted Dobie and me to immediately head to the scene.
Yes, Labrador is right. When we arrived, the store seemed empty and abandoned, with toys and plush animals scattered everywhere.
We started the investigation and found Mr. and Mrs. Squirrel hiding in the far corner of the store. It turned out they were taking the toys, thinking they were for their children.
When we asked them why they didn't use the surveillance cameras, they said they didn't know how to turn them on and were just trying to do something nice for their kids.
In the end, we cleared things up and suggested they visit the store during business hours to buy toys. They apologized for the inconvenience and promised not to take anything without permission again.
So friends, sometimes mysterious disappearances aren't about dark forces. Sometimes it's just parents trying to make their kids' lives brighter.
It seems we've been through a lot, but now the fourth challenge awaits us, which turns out to be a real test.
Yes, Labrador, this challenge is like games such as Mario. We need to run and jump, avoiding traps and collecting everything that can help us stop the giant head of this living toy that is trying to catch and eat us.
Now Dobie and I found ourselves in a world reminiscent of classic Mario in 2D. We started on a platform surrounded by green pipes and brick blocks, but the real excitement was ahead. We were being chased by a giant toy head. We had to jump and collect bombs to slow it down.
Exactly, Labrador. These platform jumps are quite the challenge. It feels like being a puppy again, trying to reach high shelves. And those bombs are a real treasure. Throw one, and the head slows down, giving us a chance to run further. Great job, Labrador. We're almost at the finish, friends. And who would have thought that simply escaping from a toy head could be so exciting?
Here we are in the ventilation system, friends, or almost there. We've already made it halfway, and honestly, I'm a little worried. These pipes look like they haven't been cleaned in ages. And the air here, it's not the freshest. But we can't stop now. We need to keep going to get out of this toy store. Who would have thought that toys could be so dangerous?
You're right, Labrador. And these rusty pipes? It smells like an old basement, but it seems like we're no strangers to tough tasks. These old abandoned toys scattered through the sewers are staring at us with their empty eyes. They're definitely not happy to see us, so we need to be careful and stay alert.
We made it through that sewer, and I have no idea how we managed to escape. The toys tried to grab us. Oh, Dobie, look, it's game number 5.
It kind of reminds me of some game, or maybe it's just me. What do you think, guys? Let us know in the comments.
What a challenge. Dobie and I are back in the toy store, and now we have to jump on platforms that are about to start falling. As soon as they turn red, we need to get off, or we're in trouble. Honestly, I'm a bit nervous because these platforms are so slippery that you barely have time to react.
Yeah, Labrador, these platforms are a real headache. You barely land on one before it starts glowing red. It feels like a game of cat and mouse. You almost made it, but it's about to disappear beneath your feet. Of course, we're sheriffs, but here we really need to be extra careful. I even joked a few times that if I fall, I'll land on a soft toy. Whew, we barely made it through this level. What's next? Is this the end?
This toy train looks extremely suspicious. I doubt the exit is here, but we have no other choice. Settle in, Dobie. We're in for a long ride.
Let's go, Sheriff Labrador. I hope we don't encounter any screamers along the way and everything goes smoothly. Oh no, it was a trap.
What do we do now? We're falling straight down. We're going to crash, Sheriff Labrador.
Are you here? I see the final arena.
Yes, I'm here. It looks like this is the final challenge. Oh, wait. It's that same living toy in a robo-suit. How do we deal with it, guys? We're facing the main boss, a toy robot threatening us with lasers and a giant metal structure.
Yes, Labrador. This robot means business. It's firing all its weapons and trying to crush us with its huge feet.
But we won't give up. To defeat this boss, we need to aim for its weak spot, the legs. We have rocket launchers and we need to hit them directly.
Let's act quickly and in sync. Labrador, you take the rocket launcher on the right, I'll take the left. Let's focus fire on its legs while we have the chance. Watch how it opens the vents on its legs.
Now's our chance to attack. Launch the rockets.
Great shot, Labrador. We damaged its leg. Just a bit more and we'll have it.
The boss is getting more aggressive. Watch out. Dodge the lasers and keep attacking its legs.
Another rocket hit the mark. The leg is starting to smoke. We're almost there.
We're on the home stretch. We'll defeat this evil robot. Hooray! We managed to destroy it. They didn't call me Diamond Eye at the Sheriff Academy for nothing. I'm a really good shot. Now we just need to find the way out of here, guys.
You're all the best. You helped us defeat this toy robot. I hope we really won and this isn't another trap.
Guys, help us! Quickly like the video, leave a comment, and watch it until the end, or we might fall straight into the lava.
Hello, everyone. Imagine you're stuck in an abandoned pizzeria where danger lurks at every turn. The main goal is to escape this creepy place. But be careful. The terrifying chef Papa Pizza is on your trail, cooking up his horrible dishes from human parts. Yes, you heard that right. This will be a true test of your agility and wits.
Welcome to our channel, friends. It's your Sheriff's Labrador and my trusty partner, Dobie, back with you again. Today we have something special. We are embarking on an exciting adventure in a Roblox mode called Escape from Papa Pizza's Pizzeria. Dobie, tell everyone what challenges they'll face.
Oh yes, guys. You'll face puzzles, traps, and the need to quickly run away from this crazy chef. But don't worry, Labrador and I will be there to help you every step of the way.
Ready for an incredible adventure? Then get comfortable, gather your courage, and let's see if we can escape Papa Pizza's Pizzeria together.
Oh no, Labrador, where's the light? It seems Papa Pizza is after us. Hide, Labrador. We need to act quickly and precisely because Papa Pizza is right on our heels.
Oh, guys, he's right behind us. Do you see those scary eyes and that creepy apron? Papa Pizza is cooking his horrible dishes and wants to add us to the menu. We need to find a way out urgently.
Exactly, Labrador. Listen carefully, guys. To save ourselves, we need to find a hole in the floor and jump into it. It's our only chance to escape this crazy chef. Let's move quickly. We don't have much time.
We did it, guys. We're safe for now, but stay alert. There are always new challenges ahead in this game.
Thanks for being with us, and until the next adventure. Whew, that was scary, but we made it. Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and leave comments about what modes you'd like to see next. And now we are...
Yes, in the stinky sewers. Oh, the smell here is terrible. But we have no choice, guys. To get out of here, we need to climb through a hatch. The problem is, Papa Pizza is waiting for us up there.
Exactly, Labrador. The hatch leads directly to the bathroom, and Papa Pizza is already there, ready to catch us. But we have a plan. First, we need to find the hatch and climb up carefully. Then we'll try to outsmart him.
I see the hatch ahead. Be careful and watch your step to avoid traps. Dobie, do you think we can outsmart Papa Pizza?
Of course, Labrador. We need to be smarter and faster. Guys, as soon as we climb through the hatch, be ready to act quickly. We need to figure out how to bypass Papa Pizza and escape.
Let's try. Here's the hatch. I see it. Is everyone ready? Climb carefully and quietly. Just like that. We're almost there.
Oh no, he's here! Run, guys, faster! We need to find a way out of this bathroom and avoid Papa Pizza. Labrador, where to next?
We got through that scary web. But how did Papa Pizza turn into Papa Spider? Oh no, we stepped on a spike. We'll have to start over.
Now we're navigating through a spiked trap. We have to be very careful not to get caught in them.
Yes, Dobie, this is definitely not a place you want to get stuck. Watch your step, guys, and stay away from those menacing spikes. We can handle this together. Stay close.
After this trap, another challenge awaits us. We'll have to do parkour over old pipes that could collapse at any moment. Be careful, guys, and help each other out.
Once this was an excellent establishment where all the animals of the city came for the best pizza. But something happened, and now Papa Pizza has closed his pizzeria and become incredibly evil. They say his secret recipe was stolen, and since then, he lost all interest in cooking. We're here to find out what happened and try to escape this creepy place.
Yes, Labrador, you're right. This place is filled with an atmosphere of eerie abandonment. Papa Pizza was famous for his recipes, but after the theft, he completely changed. Now the pizzeria is not a place of joy, but a labyrinth full of dangers. We must be careful. We just passed by the kitchen, and there was a huge pile of dough, as if Papa Pizza was trying to recreate his recipes, but failed. He couldn't make that magical pizza anymore.
We've seen how the pizzas turned into real traps. Remember that giant pizza that fell from the ceiling right in front of us? That's definitely not the pizza we're used to seeing. Papa Pizza has set up many traps here to make sure no one can escape. At one point, it seemed to me that he was wandering these corridors himself, guarding his lost empire.
Yes, this pizzeria has turned into a real nightmare. We went through the kitchen and there were pizzas with teeth. Something incredible. And those pizza boxes that open and try to grab you certainly don't add any confidence. Papa Pizza clearly doesn't want anyone to get out of here alive. His malice has soaked every corner of this place.
Now we've reached the main hall and everything is turned upside down. Broken tables and chairs, scattered ingredients. Everything indicates that a real chaos happened here. Papa Pizza, losing his secret recipe, transformed from a kind chef into a real monster. We have only one option left. Find a way out of this madness and try to restore the pizzeria's former glory.
I agree, Labrador. We've overcome many challenges, but the most important one is ahead. Papa Pizza may be evil, but we've proven time and again that we can handle any difficulties. Let's keep moving to escape this place and perhaps help Papa Pizza find his former self.
Friends, I want to share a very secret story with you. It all started when we received several strange reports from the residents. They claimed they had seen a living pizza that moved on its own and seemed to have its own plans. At first, we thought it was a joke, but when the number of reports increased, it became clear that something unusual was going on. Dobie and I decided to check out these reports and went to the location where the most calls were coming from.
When we arrived at the scene, we were greeted by frightened residents pointing to Papa Pizza's pizzeria. It looked normal, but something was off. We cautiously entered and immediately noticed unusual tomato sauce marks on the floor. We followed these marks and ended up in a storeroom where we were in for a real surprise. There was a huge living pizza moving around and making strange noises. We realized it wasn't just alive, but also aggressive.
It turned out that this living pizza was the result of an experiment gone wrong by Papa Pizza. He had wanted to create the most delicious and unique pizza in the world by adding rare ingredients and a special magical seasoning to his recipe. But something went wrong, and the pizza gained its own consciousness and the ability to move. Moreover, it decided that it could become the ruler of the city and take control. Dobie and I realized we needed to act quickly to stop it.
We began to devise a plan to neutralize the living pizza. It was important not only to stop it, but also to ensure that something like this wouldn't happen again. We remembered that the magical seasoning could be neutralized by adding certain ingredients to the pizza. In search of these ingredients, we turned to our friends in the city, and soon we had everything we needed. The hardest part was getting close to the pizza to add the ingredients, but our teamwork and determination helped us succeed.
After several attempts, we managed to neutralize the living pizza. It lost its movement and became just an ordinary pizza. We returned it to Papa Pizza and explained what had happened. He was shocked and promised not to use magical ingredients again. The city regained its peace, and all the residents were grateful for our rescue.
This story was an important lesson for us about how experiments can be dangerous if you don't know when to stop. We realized that our job is not just to protect the city from external threats, but also to prevent internal problems. From now on, we will always be more careful with any unusual events so that such incidents won't happen again.
We finally made it out of that pizzeria. These challenges were pure hell. Pizzas with trap flavors, trampolines throwing us into endless nightmares. But now, even more adventures await us. The forest. And it seems Papa Pizza hasn't forgotten about us. He's still on our tail. We need to find a way out through these dark trees, or we'll end up in his clutches forever.
This forest is really creepy, Labrador. It's as dark as a basement, and I can hear something rustling in the bushes. We've survived the pizzeria traps, but this will be even harder. The key is finding those trash bins with fences. I'm sure that's our only chance to escape. We need to climb, jump, and then we'll be able to get away from Papa Pizza.
Do you hear that? It's him. Papa Pizza won't back down. He's chasing us, and we need to move fast. Those trash bins with fences are our way out. But no matter how hard we try, this forest feels endless. We'll have to jump and hope that the next trash bin is the one that will lead us out.
No shadow or sound will stop us, Labrador. We've already gone through the horrors of the pizzeria, so this forest is just another obstacle on the road to freedom. The key is not to lose our heads. We're almost there. Let's jump over the fence and break free from this forest like real sheriffs.
Here it is, the spot. We're at the last trash bin. This is our chance, Dobie. We need to jump straight into the darkness, but I believe there's an exit there. Let's go.
We did it, Labrador. Just a few more steps, and we're safe. Papa Pizza didn't catch us, which means we're free again. See you soon, friends.
Here we are, friends. The pizzeria is behind us, and the forest too. We've gone through all these trials, and despite Papa Pizza trying to catch us, we broke free. I hope you enjoyed our adventure and didn't forget about us while we were running away from that giant pizza. Hello, friends. It's me, Sheriff Labrador, and today we're taking on a series of challenges together with my friend Dobie.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, just like Labrador said, we're playing a challenge map in Roblox. The mode is called Escape from the Dungeon.
Our first challenge is parkour on barrels over a huge lava pit. Dobie, are you ready?
Yes, Labrador, I'm ready. Phew, we made it through this challenge. Now we move on to the next one. We have to jump across wooden planks, but the most important thing is not to fall.
Dobie, how do you like this mode? I really enjoy it. The harder the challenges, the more I start loving this game.
I agree, Labrador. This map is amazing. Very well designed and detailed.
Let's move on to the next challenge. We have to run under giant spikes in time. If we don't make it, we lose.
Labrador, this is terrifying. One wrong step and it's game over.
Don't worry, Dobie. We'll get through it for sure.
We did it, Labrador, but we can't relax. There are even harder challenges ahead.
Now we're climbing up a ladder and entering a strange room filled with chests. We need to open them all and find the key to the door.
Oh, Labrador! We have to find the key to escape from this scary room.
I've opened so many chests, but still no key. Dobie, how about you?
Labrador, come here. I found the key.
Hooray, we're out!
On the next level, there are invisible traps under our feet. Labrador, we have to get through this level on our first try.
We're slowly making our way through, carefully jumping over the invisible traps.
Yes, we cleared this level on the first try. Teamwork makes anything possible.
Now we have to climb down giant wooden beams, but we can't fall. There's poisonous water below, and if we fall, we lose.
I agree, Labrador. We can't afford to lose now.
Dobie, we're so close to beating this level.
Yes, Labrador. We're almost there, and we did it. We're moving on to the next challenge. Let's grab the checkpoint. Up next is parkour on rocks, but if we fall, we'll get crushed and lose.
Oh no, Dobie, we fell. Is this the end?
Don't worry, Labrador. That's why we took the checkpoint. We have another chance.
Yes, we did it, and we're moving forward.
We finished the parkour, and a boulder pushed us straight into the next challenge.
Now we have to jump from rock to rock at super speed. Below us is a huge sea of acid. If we fall, we lose.
Phew, Labrador, we made it through this level.
The day started as usual, with a strong cup of coffee and another morning briefing. I was going through reports when my radio suddenly blared with an urgent alarm. The dispatcher's voice was shaking. Something unimaginable had happened at the Rainbow Meadow Kindergarten. Eyewitnesses reported that a giant dragon had suddenly appeared in the center of the building and was now holding it under siege. Inside were teachers and children. Dobie had just entered the station holding a box of donuts in his paws, but as soon as he heard the call, he set it aside immediately. This was an emergency.
When we arrived at the scene, we were met with a sight straight out of a fantasy movie. The dragon, massive, covered in green scales with enormous wings and eyes that burned like embers, was perched on the roof of the building. Its tail slowly moved, breaking apart the wooden fence of the playground, while its clawed paws gripped the chimney. Panic-stricken adults ran in all directions. Fire had already spread to the top floor, and we knew there was no time to waste.
The first thing we needed to do was find out if there were any injured people inside. As we approached, one of the teachers informed us that all the children had barricaded themselves in the playroom on the second floor. They were scared, but safe for the moment. The only problem was that they couldn't get out. The main entrance was blocked by debris, and fire had cut off the emergency exit. The dragon watched our every move, and clearly wasn't going to let us pass easily.
We decided to split up. Labrador would distract the monster while I tried to get inside through a window. The dragon tilted its head as Labrador pulled out a megaphone and turned the siren to maximum volume. The loud noise made the creature flinch. It turned toward him and let out a deep, rumbling growl. At that moment, I ran to the window, pulled out a crowbar, and struck the glass with all my might.
The dragon saw me as a threat and suddenly spread its wings. I barely had time to jump back as it dove from the roof straight at me. The ground shook from the impact, and I rolled to the side. Meanwhile, Dobie was already climbing inside. I had to hold the monster's attention. If it brought the building down, it would be a disaster. I spotted a fire hydrant nearby and rushed toward it without hesitation. I needed to open it and try to spray the dragon with water.
Inside the building, it was unbearably hot. The walls were cracking, and the air was filled with the smell of smoke. The children huddled in a corner, trembling with fear. I promised them I'd get them out and told them to hold hands. We started making our way to the exit, but suddenly there was a loud creak. The ceiling beam collapsed, blocking our path. We needed to find another way out.
I struck the hydrant several times with my baton, and a powerful stream of water burst out. The dragon roared as the water hit its face. It recoiled, shaking its head, giving me a chance to regroup. I quickly scanned my surroundings, searching for a way to finally subdue it. Then an idea struck me. I could use the nearby construction cranes to trap the monster.
We found a passage leading to an old storage room. There was a back door, but it was jammed shut. The children huddled together in fear as I tried to break it open with my shoulder. The smoke was getting thicker, the air hotter. We were running out of time. I grabbed a metal pipe and used it as a lever. The door finally gave way and we rushed outside.
The dragon was taking to the air. This was our last chance. I sprinted toward the construction crane, jumped into the cabin and yanked the controls. A massive net filled with steel beams swayed in the air. The dragon soared upward, but I had timed it perfectly. I released the load right on top of it. The beams struck its wings, sending it crashing back to the ground. The beast roared, tangled in the net.
I saw the children running into the arms of their relieved parents, but the dragon was still dangerous. It thrashed, roared, and struggled against the net. At that moment, specialists from the Magical Creature Protection Agency arrived. They used special tranquilizer darts, and within minutes, the monster finally calmed down.
We stood there, catching our breath, watching as the specialists loaded the dragon onto a transport platform to take it to a sanctuary. The children were safe. The firefighters had put out the flames, and the teachers couldn't stop thanking us. Dobie and I exchanged a glance. Another case closed.
As everything settled down, I looked up at the sky where the dragon had once soared. This was one of the toughest challenges we had ever faced, but the most important thing was that no one got hurt. We had done our job. And now, I think it's time to head back to the station and finally finish those donuts I left behind before this crazy day began.
The day started as usual. Coffee, reports, and post-inspections. Everything was calm in the city of animals. Dobie and I were about to start our morning patrol when a raccoon named Timmy burst into the station. He looked frightened, his eyes darting around, and he was out of breath. He told us that his friend, the fox Rick, had disappeared. The last time anyone saw him, he was playing a new game, Poppy Playtime 4. Timmy swore he had seen Rick literally vanish into the screen. At first, we thought it was a joke or just childish fears, but then Timmy showed us his tablet. The game's loading screen was still glowing, and there, in the reflection of a store window inside the factory, was a silhouette. It looked just like Rick. I exchanged glances with Dobie. This all seemed impossible, but we couldn't ignore it. If the game was somehow pulling players inside, we needed to figure out why. We sat down in front of the screen. The title flickered, and then the words appeared. "Welcome to the Playtime Toy Factory. Enter your names to join." I typed in my name. Dobie did the same. The moment we pressed enter, the screen flashed, and darkness swallowed us.
When I opened my eyes, dim lighting surrounded us. We stood in a long corridor. Flickering lamps cast strange shadows on the walls. The air was stale, filled with dust and a strangely sweet scent, like old gummy candy. Labrador looked around. A poster on the wall read, "Welcome to Playtime Factory. Keep smiling." Below it stood a broken toy, a giant plush bear with an eerily wide grin. In the distance, we heard children's laughter. It was quiet, but it sent chills down my spine. We moved forward. The factory looked abandoned. Scattered toy parts lay on the floor, and the silence was only interrupted by the occasional creak of metal. Then we heard whispering.
The day started peacefully. Dobie and I were sipping our morning coffee at the station, getting ready for our usual patrol. The streets were quiet, the citizens were going about their daily routines, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But everything changed when the phone rang. On the other end, we heard the trembling voice of a kindergarten teacher from Happy Tales Daycare. She was gasping in terror, almost screaming. The daycare has been taken over. A giant dinosaur broke through the entrance, roaring and not letting the children out. Then, the call was abruptly cut off. Dobie and I exchanged glances. No questions asked. We jumped into our patrol car and sped off toward the daycare at full speed. This living toy wants to catch us. Watch the video until the end to save us. Oh no! Hello, friends! Today, Dobie and I found ourselves in an exciting new Roblox game called Escape the Epic School, Obby. This school looks simply amazing. Bright walls, beautiful classrooms, and hallways. But as soon as we started moving through the school, we realized that something was wrong.
Hello, everyone! Yes, Labrador, you're right. In this school, all the teachers are animated toys. They've gone haywire and have become real threats. The head teacher is a huge head with a police hat and long arms and legs. He looks terrifying, and just seeing him gives you the chills. But that's not the only danger.
The school is indeed impressive with its beauty. Every classroom and hallway shows attention to detail. At first glance, it seems like the perfect place for learning. But we quickly understood that behind this beauty lies something sinister. The toy teachers, who were supposed to entertain children, now pose a serious threat.
One teacher that stood out was a toy pizza. When we first saw him, he seemed quite funny. But as soon as we got closer, he came to life and started chasing us. We quickly realized he was no joke, but thanks to our experience and teamwork, we managed to escape the danger.
All these teachers were once part of the educational process, but something went wrong, and they became the school's guards. We found out they were created to help children learn, but a system failure caused them to act aggressively. This is especially true for the head teacher, a huge head with long limbs. His appearance is truly frightening.
As we progress through the school, we notice how everything is meticulously detailed. The chemistry classroom has real laboratories, the gym has exercise equipment and basketball hoops. But none of this is for us. We need to find an exit and avoid these animated teachers.
With each passing minute, we become more convinced that this school is not an ordinary place. Everything here is designed to keep us inside. We constantly feel the eyes of these toys on us. They watch our every move, and it makes us uneasy.
Despite all these difficulties, we remain optimistic. We know that together we can overcome any obstacles. We've found ourselves in similar situations before and always found a way out. This time, we are not going to give up either.
Thank you for being with us, friends. Your support means a lot to us. We will keep you updated on all our adventures and hope that together we can escape from this epic school.
Stay with us because there's much more excitement ahead. We are confident that we can overcome all challenges and find a way out of this mysterious school. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and you can leave any comment, and we will respond to it.
We have a story about a school. When Dobie and I received an urgent call to the school, I had no idea what awaited us. Usually, such calls are related to minor incidents, but not this time. We were informed that the teachers had started acting strangely. They were destroying classrooms, tearing up textbooks, and causing complete chaos. It was unimaginable. Dobie and I immediately realized that this was serious and we needed to act quickly. When we arrived at the scene, the students were already trying to calm their teachers, but it was clear that they had completely lost control.
I had never seen anything like it. Imagine a school where instead of the usual learning process, there is complete chaos. Teachers, who were always examples of order and discipline, suddenly became totally unpredictable. They were breaking desks, scattering teaching materials, and seemed to be in some sort of trance. The students, on the other hand, were trying to calm them down, which was surprising. I saw how the older students took on the role of adults, trying to organize and protect the younger ones. Labrador and I immediately started figuring out what could have caused such behavior in the teachers.
We quickly discovered that everything started when a new history teacher appeared at the school. It was said that he brought with him some ancient artifacts that he used for his lessons. One of these artifacts was a strange box with intricate patterns that he showed to the class. It was right after this that all the problems began. The teachers who saw this box immediately started acting aggressively. We decided we needed to find this box and understand what it was. But where to look in such chaos?
We started our search in the history classroom, but it was a complete mess. All the shelves were overturned, books scattered everywhere. Labrador and I decided to split up to find the box faster. I went to the old cabinets while Labrador checked the desks and drawers. We found a map.
We realized that the map was somehow related to the teacher's hypnosis. We needed to quickly find a way to lift this effect. We approached the school principal, who fortunately had not yet been hypnotized. He told us that he had heard legends about such artifacts, and that the only way to remove their influence was to find the key to these symbols.
Labrador and I set out to find the teacher. The trail led us to an old building on the outskirts of town where he was temporarily living. We entered his room and found numerous books and documents related to magic and hypnosis. Among them, we found a diary where he detailed his experiments with the box and the map. It turned out that he had accidentally activated a spell that caused this chaos. The diary also mentioned that to lift the spell, a ritual needed to be performed in the schoolyard using the map and certain words.
We returned to the school with the map and began preparing for the ritual. The students, despite the chaos, helped us as best they could. We explained to them what needed to be done, and together we started the ritual. Dobie lit the candles while I held the map and read the words from the ancient symbols. Suddenly, everything around us was illuminated by a bright light, and the teachers began to come to their senses. It was an incredible sight. The spell was lifted, and the school gradually returned to normal. The teachers became themselves again, and the students showed that they could handle the most difficult situations. You know, guys, there's another story where you'll recognize your school. Usually in schools there are fights or small pranks, but this time the situation was much more serious. The students decided to play a prank and locked all the doors so no one could get out. They stuffed the toilets with shirts and turned on the water, causing a massive flood. Imagine a school turned into a huge aquarium, with water flooding the halls and classrooms. Dobie and I had to act fast to save the school from destruction.
When we arrived, we were met with an incredible sight. Water was flowing out from under the doors, and inside the school, there was total chaos. Students were in panic, some trying to escape by climbing onto desks and tables. The water kept rising, and the situation was becoming more and more dangerous. We knew we had to act quickly, or the school could suffer even more damage. The first thing we did was contact our elephant friends, who could help us absorb all the water.
While we waited for the elephants to arrive, Dobie and I began evacuating the students. We helped the children get out of the classrooms and directed them to the exits. Some doors were blocked by water, and we had to use our strength to break through the flood. Despite their fear, the students tried to help each other. Dobie and I coordinated their actions to avoid panic and injuries. Meanwhile, the water kept rising, and the situation was getting more critical.
When the elephants arrived, we immediately sprang into action. Thanks to their powerful trunks, the elephants began absorbing the water like giant sponges. It was an impressive sight. They worked quickly and in sync, helping us save the school. The water level gradually started to drop, and the panic among the students eased. The elephants did an incredible job, and thanks to them, the situation was brought under control. Labrador and I continued to oversee the evacuation, helping those who were still inside.
Gradually, thanks to the elephants' efforts, the water level began to fall, and we were able to assess the damage. Many classrooms were flooded, furniture was ruined, and educational materials were lost. However, the most important thing was that no one was hurt. The students and teachers were safe, and that was our main goal. We thanked our elephant friends for their help, as we wouldn't have been able to manage without them. Now we had to deal with the aftermath and figure out who exactly was behind the prank.
We started the investigation, interviewing students and teachers. It turned out that a few high school students decided to play this prank and didn't think about the consequences. They realized what they had done and were genuinely remorseful. We had a disciplinary talk with them, explaining how dangerous such pranks could be. It was important not only to punish the guilty, but also to teach them responsibility for their actions.
In the end, the school returned to normal life. We helped organize repairs and restore the damaged property. The students and teachers learned how important it is to be cautious and think about the consequences of their actions. Dobie and I were glad everything ended well and that we managed to prevent a catastrophe in time. This story became a lesson for everyone, showing that even the most innocent-looking pranks can lead to serious consequences.
And that's how this unusual story ended. Once again, we were reminded how important it is to be attentive and responsible. And our elephant friends showed that they are always ready to help in tough times. It's important to remember that together we can tackle any problem, and true strength lies in unity and mutual support.
And don't forget, despite all these challenges, we still find moments for laughter and joy. The Epic School is just one of the many adventures we're experiencing thanks to you. Your likes and comments are what motivate us to keep going and overcome all difficulties.
Absolutely! So don't worry, we'll be back here to finish this adventure and defeat the main teacher. We'll continue searching for a way out. And of course, we'll make sure to tell you how we managed to do it.
Hello, friends. Today, Dobie and I have a new mission. We entered the game Roblox and found ourselves in a school. But this is no ordinary school. It has been taken over by an evil gym teacher. There are no more lessons, no students, only silence and chaos. We must stop him and restore order.
I can already see that the situation is serious. Desks are overturned, textbooks are scattered on the floor, lockers are open, and at the end of the hallway, there's a huge banner. Here, PE rules! Labrador, it looks like this teacher has turned the school into his personal gym. We need to act fast before things get worse.
We move forward, but the school seems to come alive. The doors behind us slam shut, and now there's no way out. The only path is forward. I can feel that the teacher is nearby. He's definitely watching us. We need to be ready for any traps.
The hallways look strange. Some walls are crooked, staircases lead to nowhere, and the old school clocks are frozen at the same time. Something is definitely wrong. We carefully make our way forward, staying alert. Soon we'll have to face his challenges, but we won't back down.
We enter the first classroom. Everything is upside down. The board is broken, desks are piled up, and even the posters on the walls worn. Run faster, or you'll stay here forever. This is clearly not just a school, but we are sheriffs, and our job is to save this world.
Getting through this class wasn't easy, but we managed. Beyond it, we found a long hallway leading to the gym. I can already hear the sound of heavy footsteps. The gym teacher is nearby. He doesn't want us to reach him, which means we're on the right track.
The walls are covered with certificates of athletic achievements, but they are scribbled with strange words. The weak do not survive. PE is power. This teacher has gone too far. We need to stop him before the school turns into a nightmare from which no one can escape.
We approach the gym doors. They are massive, made of iron, with the words, "Only the strongest may enter." Behind them awaits the main villain of this school, the teacher himself. It's time for the final showdown.
The doors burst open with a loud crash, and we find ourselves in a massive gym. Old benches line the walls. Rules of training are scribbled everywhere. And in the center stands him. Huge, wearing a tracksuit with a menacing glare. He crosses his arms and smirks at us.
This teacher looks intimidating, but we won't be scared so easily. He clearly wants to test our strength. He's strong and fast, but we're no amateurs either. The key is to stick together, stay calm, and find his weaknesses.
The battle begins. The gym teacher moves fast, but we dodge his attacks. Every step we take brings us closer to victory. He tries to corner us, but we find a way out and keep fighting.
The fight is intense. The teacher throws sports equipment at us, but we skillfully avoid all obstacles. He's not as confident as he was at the start. His energy is draining, but we don't give up. Just a little more, and the school will be free.
And now the final push. The teacher is defeated. He admits his loss and vanishes. The school is under our control again, and now students can return. We did it, Dobie.
Yes, Labrador, this mission wasn't easy, but we did it! Evil has been defeated, the school is saved, and order has been restored. We proved that no one can take over the school as long as the sheriffs are on duty. Great job!
Today, I'm going to tell you a story that started as a routine call but turned into a true test for me and Officer Dobie. It was a day we would never forget. It all began with a distressing call from worried parents. They said their children were staying late at school, and those who did leave looked completely exhausted. We immediately set off to investigate. The school looked strange. The windows were covered with curtains, the yard was empty, and the doors were locked. It seemed like no one was inside. But as soon as we tried to open the door, a loud, commanding voice echoed from the school's intercom.
I recognized that voice instantly. It was Coach Bully, the local gym teacher. He had always been strict, but no one expected him to go this far. His voice echoed through the halls. He declared that the school now belonged to him and that all students had to undergo a real training course. Those who failed the trials would stay in the school forever. He challenged us to prove our strength as well. Labrador and I exchanged glances. Backing down was not in our nature. The moment we stepped forward, iron gates slammed shut behind us. A screen on the wall lit up. Our first challenge was waiting.
We found ourselves in the gymnasium. In front of us was a long path with dozens of rubber balls flying across it at high speed. A single hit could send us tumbling back to the start. We started moving. I ducked as a ball whizzed past just inches from my head. Dobie dodged skillfully, but one ball clipped his side. He stumbled but quickly recovered. We realized that running straight through was a bad idea. We needed to use the equipment as cover. I signaled to Dobie, and we began moving in short bursts, using every column and bench for protection.
The balls kept coming, but we were faster. At the last moment, we leapt behind a wall that led to the next room. The moment we crossed the line, the balls stopped. The first trial was over, but there was no time to celebrate. Ahead of us, the schoolyard doors opened, revealing our next challenge.
On the school's running track, we faced our next test. Hanging from the ceiling were heavy weights, tied to ropes. The rule was simple. If you stopped or slowed down, the weights would drop on you. Coach Bully announced that we had exactly 5 minutes to complete 3 laps. We took off running. The first few meters were easy, but then the weights started swinging, creating new obstacles.
We sped up, trying to predict their movements. I felt one of the weights pass just inches from my back. Labrador barely dodged another. The final lap was the hardest. The weights were falling twice as fast, and we were running on sheer determination. Just as I was about to get caught, Labrador lunged forward and grabbed me by the scruff, pulling me out of danger. We tumbled across the finish line, and the weights came to a halt. Waiting ahead was Coach Bully himself.
We entered the main hall. Coach Bully stood in the center, surrounded by students. He was massive and muscular, and in his hands, he held a whistle, clearly not an ordinary one. He declared that this was the final trial. If we defeated him in a fair fight, the school would be free. If we lost, we would stay there forever.
His whistle turned out to be a weapon. The moment he blew into it, the sound wave hit us so hard that we nearly collapsed. We realized we had to take it from him. I dashed to the side, drawing his attention. Labrador seized the opportunity and lunged forward, knocking the whistle from Bully's hands. The coach roared in anger, but it was too late. Without his whistle, he lost his main advantage.
We used his size against him. As he charged at us, I positioned a gym mat under him, making him lose his balance. Dobie swept his legs out from under him, and Bully crashed to the floor. The students, seeing their greatest fear defeated, stood up to him. They surrounded him and declared that they would no longer obey his rule.
When it was over, the school doors opened and the children ran to freedom. We announced that the school was once again under the protection of the law. Coach Bully was sent for rehabilitation. From now on, PE class would be a place of fun, not fear.
That day taught us a valuable lesson. Victory isn't just about strength, it's about strategy, courage, and teamwork. We saved the school, and now we know, together, no villain stands a chance against us. That day, the world changed. Strange signals began to come from space. At first, we thought it was just static, but soon it became clear. It was a call from aliens. The sky was filled with lights, and we realized we had to act. Dobie and I immediately decided to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly, Labrador. As the signals became more frequent, we began to prepare. The aliens didn't just arrive. They were clearly planning something. We understood that we needed to be ready for anything. At first, they just observed, but soon they began to intensify their actions. We started losing contact with the outside world.
Realizing that we were being influenced, we immediately began constructing antennas to intercept their signals. Each message from them became more and more complex. I never imagined I'd face something like this. We had to figure out what they wanted from us.
When we started decrypting their messages, it became clear they were preparing for an invasion. We needed to find a way to stop them. At first, we tried negotiating, but they didn't respond. The aliens only strengthened their signals.
Our team developed a special device to block their signals. But as it turned out, that was just the beginning. When we started preparing for the final attack, the aliens began manipulating people, trying to break their will. We knew we had to act fast.
So we created an impulse generator that could destroy their connection. But it was risky. We knew that one mistake and everything could be lost. Nevertheless, we couldn't give up. We pressed the button and the generator started working.
When the generator activated, the aliens began to lose connection. Their ship slowed down, and we felt we had a chance. But it wasn't that simple. They started emitting energy waves, trying to destroy our generator. We had to strengthen the signal.
We connected additional devices. At the last moment, Labrador activated the final impulse that completely shut down the aliens. Their ships began to disintegrate, and the lights in the sky vanished. We won!
The world was saved, but we knew we couldn't relax. This victory taught us to be ready for anything. Dobie and I know that there could be other threats on Earth, and we'll be ready.
Yes, and the most important thing, we realized that together we can face any challenge. This experience became our lesson. We will stand guard over peace, ready to confront any threat.
Friends, Peppa Pig has turned evil and wants to make me just like her. Watch the video until the end to save me. Hello, friends. Today we find ourselves in the most unusual place, the house of Peppa Pig, which has turned into a prison. It's a real nightmare. Peppa and her family have become very mean, and now we have to escape from here.
Yes, Labrador. Hello, everyone. We entered the house and everything looks creepy. Peppa was always a sweet pig, but something has changed her. Now she and her family run this prison. We need to figure out what happened and get out of here.
A Peppa used to be just a playful pig, but it seems something has really angered her. Maybe it's because she's tired of the constant attention and noise around her family. Her world has become dark, and now she's trying to trap everyone who enters her house.
I think her anger might be related to feeling lonely and misunderstood. Her house is now full of traps and dangers. We need to be very careful not to fall into one of them.
Our journey will not be easy, but we will definitely make it. The main thing is to stick together and not lose hope. We will find a way to escape and bring Peppa back to her kind self. Guys, have you watched cartoons with Peppa Pig? I watched, and I remember that she was always a very kind pig, but look at what she has become.
With each new room, it gets scarier. Peppa's house is full of secrets and dangers, but we are not giving up. We will definitely find a way out and uncover the mystery of why Peppa and her family have become so mean.
Don't forget, friends, that together we can overcome any difficulties. We will go through all the obstacles and find our way to freedom. Stay with us. This will be an exciting adventure.
Stay close, and we will definitely escape this prison. Our mission is to set everything right and make Peppa's house bright and cheerful again. Onward to adventure.
Perhaps something important awaits us at the end of this journey. Maybe we can find a way to reconcile Peppa with her feelings. But for now, we need to focus on each step, on each challenge. Every success brings us closer to our goal. Do you see how creepy it is here? Guys, like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And with each step, we become stronger. This adventure teaches us that even in the darkest places, light can be found. We will learn to handle any difficulties and always keep moving forward.
Dobie, we've been through a lot, but this challenge is special. We are not just fighting for our freedom, but also for Peppa's freedom. This makes our adventure even more meaningful. This Roblox map reminds me of something. I have a feeling we'll be fighting a Peppa Pig boss at the end, so watch until the end.
We will definitely get out and help Peppa. It's our duty as sheriffs and friends. We will overcome all obstacles and bring peace back to Peppa's house. I can't believe this used to be her home. I watched the cartoons and visited Peppa's house before, and it was completely different. Honestly, I'm very scared, Labrador. I hope the viewers aren't as scared as I am.
A few months ago, Dobie and I decided to visit our friends in the neighboring town. Peppa Pig had invited us to a party in honor of her younger brother George's birthday. We arrived early in the morning and were happy to see the town preparing for the celebration. Bright garlands were hung everywhere, and cheerful music was playing.
At Peppa's house, it was very fun and cozy. The party was in full swing. Children were laughing and playing, and adults were discussing news and enjoying treats. Everything was going great, and no one suspected that unfriendly eyes were watching Peppa's house. Labrador and I didn't notice the suspicious types right away, but our keen sense soon led us to an unpleasant suspicion.
While the guests were having fun in the garden, Dobie and I decided to look around and check if everything was okay. We noticed strange tracks behind the house and realized that someone was planning something bad. A few minutes later, we saw two strangers sneaking towards Peppa's house with the intention of robbing it. They clearly didn't expect to meet us there.
Labrador and I acted quickly and efficiently. While I circled the house from one side, Labrador took up a position on the other. We knew we had to prevent the robbery and protect Peppa and her family. At that moment, the robbers were already trying to break in through the back door, unaware that they were being watched.
When the uninvited guests realized that their plan had been uncovered, they tried to escape. However, we didn't give them that chance. Dobie tackled one of the robbers and pinned him to the ground while I quickly caught up with the second one. Thanks to our quick reaction and coordinated actions, we apprehended both criminals.
Peppa's family was very grateful for our help. We handed the robbers over to the local police and returned to the party. Everything happened so fast that most of the guests didn't even realize what had occurred. The party continued, and everyone was glad that it ended well.
That day showed us how important it is to always be on alert, even in a festive atmosphere. Dobie and I did everything possible to protect our friends and prevent the criminals from ruining the party. We are glad we could help, and once again confirmed that together we are an unbeatable team.
At the end of the day, when we were heading home, we discussed how important it is to always be ready for the unexpected. We are glad that our visit to Peppa ended so well and that we could prevent the robbery. It was another reminder that sheriffs are always on guard, and no matter what happens, we will always come to the rescue. And they also gave us a huge cake.
Not long ago, there was an incident. Could this be why Peppa became angry? Peppa Pig went missing. The whole town was in panic because Peppa is one of the most beloved residents. The locals immediately started spreading the word that she had disappeared without a trace. Dobie and I, of course, couldn't ignore this. We decided we had to help find her. When we arrived in Peppa's town, her family and friends greeted us, and everyone was very worried. Peppa had never left without notice, and leaving her little brother George behind was simply impossible. Everything seemed very strange.
We started by thoroughly examining the house. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. The doors were locked and the windows were intact. But I noticed a strange trail in the grass near the fence. It led into a forest located not far from Peppa's house. Labrador immediately pointed out that this could be an important clue. We decided to follow the trail. The farther we went, the more mysterious the trail became. At first it was clear, but soon it disappeared among the bushes. However, our experienced noses helped us find additional tracks that led to an old shed on the edge of the forest.
When we reached the shed, it was quiet and dark. Dobie and I couldn't understand what might be inside. I peered in and suddenly noticed something moving in the corner. It was something strange, almost like a shadow. We went inside and saw an old cage with Peppa inside. She was sitting there, crying and scared. It turned out she had been kidnapped by local troublemakers who decided to play a prank and hide her to see how everyone would react. They never expected us to be so quick on the trail.
Labrador and I quickly freed Peppa and took her back home. Peppa was shocked, but soon recovered and thanked us for rescuing her. The town was overjoyed when she returned, and all the residents gathered in the main square to congratulate us on the successful operation. The mystery was solved, and the mean troublemakers were punished. In the end, Peppa returned to her cozy life, and everyone was happy again. Labrador and I felt proud of our work, but the most important thing was that we brought Peppa home and restored peace to the town.
Once, some scammers came to our town and started handing out candy to the children. At first glance, everything seemed peaceful, and no one suspected that something dangerous might be behind it. But as soon as children started disappearing, Dobie and I realized that something was wrong. Soon it became clear that the candy was a trap. The scammers were kidnapping children to force them to work in their factories, making them do whatever they were told.
Yes, the situation was very tense. We started investigating, and it turned out that the scammers used a clever device that made the children lose consciousness. After that, they would take them to unknown places, where they were forced to work in a toy factory. Of course, we couldn't allow this, and as soon as we learned what was going on, we immediately took action.
First, we had to find the criminals' hideout. We knew they were hiding somewhere on the outskirts of town, but the exact location was unknown. We followed the trail, questioned a few locals, and found out that strange things were happening near an abandoned warehouse. When we arrived there, we saw that the children were indeed being kept in dark basements, forced to work on dangerous machines.
Labrador and I acted right away. We used our special team, sheriff detectives, to infiltrate the warehouse and neutralize the scammers. We didn't know how many of them were there and weren't sure if we could make it in time, but fortunately, we were prepared. We hid in the shadows and crept up to the main entrance. As soon as we saw the children working under the supervision of two scammers, we decided to act.
One of them even tried to notice us, but I quickly jumped out from behind the corner and detained him. Dobie immediately slapped on the handcuffs. The second scammer tried to run away, but I blocked all the exits, and he couldn't escape. We freed the children, and they immediately ran to the exit. We quickly notified all the parents, and they came to take their children home.
Labrador and I acted right away. We used our special team, sheriff detectives, to infiltrate the warehouse and neutralize the scammers. We didn't know how many of them were there and weren't sure if we could make it in time, but fortunately, we were prepared. We hid in the shadows and crept up to the main entrance. As soon as we saw the children working under the supervision of two scammers, we decided to act.
We've defeated the evil boss Peppa. Now she should start feeling better because this costume had infected her. We'll definitely visit Peppa soon, but for now, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We're off to the next Roblox modes. Friends, watch this video till the end or else she will eat us. Oh no! Hello friends, today we have a new exciting adventure. Dobie and I found ourselves in the game Roblox in the Escape the Girls Prison mode. But don't be fooled by the name. This place is not as cute as it sounds. The prison is scary, full of traps and challenges, and we were put in its most dangerous part.
Hi, everyone. Yes, the prison here is far from girly. We quickly realized that this was going to be a tough challenge. Everyone knows we always get out of the most difficult situations, and that's why we were sent here. But even under such conditions, we found a way to start our escape. In the cake that was sent to us, there was a shovel. We used it to dig through the floor, and that's when all the trials and parkour started.
Yes, Dobie. It was unexpected to find a shovel in the cake, but that didn't stop us. As soon as we got out of the cell, we found ourselves in a network of corridors and rooms full of traps. Everything around looked intimidating. Gloomy walls, dark corners, and the constant feeling that we were being watched.
Exactly, Labrador. The entire interior of this prison leaves no doubt. They want to keep us here at any cost. We've seen a lot of scary places, but this is probably one of the creepiest. We went through several narrow tunnels and dark corridors, but we never doubted our success. We're already used to such trials.
As we progressed, we had to face various obstacles, but each time we found a way to overcome them. It was important to stay calm and keep our wits about us. We trusted each other and knew that together we could handle any difficulties.
Our determination and faith in each other are what keep us moving forward. We've proven time and time again that we can get out of any situation. This time will be no exception. In the prison, we faced not only physical but also psychological challenges. The constant pressure and fear were our companions, but we didn't give up.
With each step, we got closer to freedom. Going through all these trials, we learned to understand each other better and work as a team. It was a real test of our friendship and cooperation.
That's right, Labrador. Now we know that we can handle any difficulty if we stick together. We'll have to fight all the prison guards. If anyone thinks girls are weak, watch this video and you'll never think that again.
As you already know, this prison was specifically designed for girls. It was built to contain those who, in the eyes of its creators, pose a particular danger due to their skills or abilities. Despite its name, the girls' prison has become a place for those who have repeatedly proven their ability to escape from any traps and find a way out of the most difficult situations.
Exactly. But why are Labrador and I here? The fact is, our successes in escaping various prisons have become known throughout Roblox. We have become legends, and our adversaries decided to test us in the most extreme conditions. They wanted to ensure that even in this terrifying prison, created with maximum caution and thoughtfulness, we wouldn't be able to find a way out.
Of course, it wasn't easy for us. We understood that here we would face the most challenging trials they could come up with. Every corner, every door, and every corridor was filled with traps and obstacles. They hoped that in such a place, we wouldn't be able to use our skills and would be trapped forever.
But they underestimated our determination and teamwork. Together, we are a force capable of overcoming any barriers. We knew we couldn't let down those who believe in us and follow our adventures. And although this prison was built for girls, it couldn't break our spirit and our will to be free. Subscribe, friends, and we will definitely get out of here. Or will we? Find out at the end of the video.
Our animal city never stopped surprising us, but what happened this time exceeded all our expectations. What started as an ordinary day turned into something completely bizarre. I woke up and discovered that the entire city had changed. And not just changed, every single resident had suddenly turned into a girl. Yes, that's right. Every animal, whether it was a lion, a rabbit, or even a bear, suddenly became female.
At first, I thought it was a dream or some cruel prank, but when I stepped outside, I saw that the changes had affected everyone. Not only the animals, but I myself had turned into a woman. We needed to figure out what had happened immediately. Labrador and I started an investigation right away. We first interviewed witnesses and learned that the transformation happened in just a matter of minutes.
Yes, I remember talking to Professor Owl, who said that this could only have happened due to a powerful magical influence or an unknown chemical substance. We went to the professor's lab to investigate possible causes. He was one of the few who remained calm in such a situation.
In the lab, we conducted numerous tests. The professor checked the air, water, and even food for any anomalies, but everything seemed normal. Then, the professor suggested we examine the magical artifacts stored in the city's museum. There were many ancient and powerful items there that could have had such an effect.
When we arrived at the museum, we discovered that one of the artifacts was missing. It was an ancient amulet with the ability to change one's gender. We immediately began searching for signs of theft. On the museum floor, we found a few drops of unknown liquid and paw prints leading into the forest.
We followed the trail, and it led us to an old abandoned house on the edge of the forest. There, we found a group of unknown creatures who, as it turned out, had stolen the amulet. They had used it for their own purposes, but lost control of its power, which caused the mass transformation in the city.
After long negotiations and explanations, we convinced them to return the amulet and help us restore the original order. With their help and the professor's knowledge, we devised a plan to reverse the spell. The amulet had to be activated at a specific time under the light of a full moon.
On the appointed day, we gathered all the city residents in the main square. The professor activated the amulet, and under the light of the full moon, the spell began to work. Gradually, everyone started to return to their original forms. It was an amazing sight.
After everyone had returned to their original forms, we discussed what had happened for a long time. The professor suggested that the amulet be kept in a more secure place to prevent such an incident from happening again. This event taught us a lot and brought the city's residents closer together.
So, dear subscribers, sometimes the most unexpected events can bring us all together and teach us to appreciate what we have. We're grateful to everyone who helped us in this situation, and we hope there won't be any more surprises like this.
Dear subscribers, Dobie and I have an incredible story for you. You know, in our animal city, something unusual always happens. But what happened this time even left Dobie and me stunned. At one point, the boys in our city suddenly started acting strangely. We noticed they became overly mischievous, disobedient, and began causing problems for the entire community. Everyone tried to handle the situation, but nothing seemed to work. In the end, a decision was made. All the boys needed to be gathered and locked up in a specially built prison.
Labrador and I were on duty when we received the order from the city's elders. All the boys had to be sent to prison, and only girls would guard them. The boys had become a real threat. They wouldn't listen to their elders, their parents, and even started small rebellions.
So, Dobie and I were given the task of ensuring the safe transport of all the boys to the prison. At that time, we didn't know exactly how everything would unfold, but as always, we had to act quickly and efficiently. We knew the girls would handle it. They were smart, strong, and determined.
When we arrived at the prison, the situation there was tense. The boys, as you can imagine, weren't going to surrender without a fight. They were confident they could escape or somehow defeat the girls, but the girls guarding the prison gave them no chance. Labrador and I closely monitored the situation, but trusted the girls in their responsibility.
At first, of course, the boys resisted. They didn't want to follow the rules and even tried to stage small protests, but the girls, as true leaders, showed their willpower and wisdom. They didn't resort to violence, but used their communication skills and patience. Over time, the boys began to realize that in order to get out of prison, they had to change their behavior.
Yes, exactly. At one point, when we were observing their interactions, it became clear that the very fact that the boys were in prison played a big role. Being in such an unusual position, they realized that only by working together could they achieve freedom. The girls taught them the importance of respecting one another and cooperating, as well as understanding how crucial it was to follow the rules for the common good. This was a real turning point in the history of our city. After a few weeks, we saw how the boys began to change. They started listening, helping each other, and acting as a team. Dobie and I often visited the prison to make sure everything was going according to plan. When we finally concluded that the boys had learned their lesson, we made the decision to release them. The girls were proud of their work, and the boys were grateful for the chance to change.
Yes, and with that, we wrap up our adventure. If it weren't for your comments and likes, it would have been much harder for us. But it's your words that inspired us to keep going and not give up, no matter what. Thank you for your support.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave likes, and follow our new adventures. We promise that even more exciting and challenging trials await us ahead. So, stay with us.
See you soon, friends. Don't miss our next videos. They'll be even more thrilling. Guys, we are on the highest slide in Roblox.
We trolled a player. Ha ha ha! He fell down from such a height.
Watch the video until the end to save us. Oh no! Hello, friends. It's us, Spider-Man Labrador, Sheriff Labrador, and Sheriff Dobie. We have embarked on one of the most thrilling adventures in Roblox, to conquer the highest slide in the world. But first, we must face some challenges.
Hi there. We are starting with a bright and challenging parkour. Our Spider-Man costumes will help us get through it. This challenge requires concentration and agility.
After the parkour, we'll face the climb to the highest slide. The view from the top promises to be breathtaking. We have a magic carpet that will help us at the most critical moment.
This slide is a real test of nerves, but we know that with you, we can overcome all obstacles and enjoy the victory. Guys, you need to go through all the challenges with us. They are very fast, but absolutely necessary.
Yes, friends. If we don't complete these challenges, and if you don't see what they look like, we might fall while climbing the ladder to the highest slide.
We've almost completed everything. We trolled a player. Ha ha ha! He fell down from such a height. I think we're ready to start climbing it. Don't tell anyone, but we're going to troll players. When we reach the high altitude, we'll troll the players and then immediately slide down the slide.
The climb to it isn't easy, and although we're just starting to ascend, I can already imagine what awaits us.
Yes, this climb is definitely not for the faint of heart. Every step makes you wonder what lies ahead. But I can already picture us racing down with such speed, we won't even have time to blink.
Oh yeah, I can feel my heart beating faster with each step. When we finally reach the top, the descent will truly test our nerves.
I agree, but that's exactly what draws us in. The fast fall, the wind in our face. We're not just climbing the slide, we're conquering it. After such a descent, we'll really feel alive.
I can imagine how we'll crash at the bottom. But, it'll all be worth it when we see that incredible view from the top.
Exactly! It's not just about getting to the top, but experiencing the true adrenaline on the way down. This isn't just a slide, it's a whole adventure.
Dobie, are you ready? After this slide, we have more challenges ahead. The highest trampoline in Roblox, the most beautiful parkour, a flying house, and other adventures. Look how fast we're going. It feels like we're about to fly off this slide.
Wow, it's like all the force of gravity is pulling us down. Everything's a blur. I thought I could handle it, but this is actually pretty scary.
Whoa, look at those sharp turns. We're almost flying off the track. This isn't just a slide, it's a real ride for true heroes.
Don't forget, Labrador, the key is to hold on. We're like real superheroes, racing so fast we don't even have time to catch our breath.
This is amazing. I can barely feel us going down. It's all happening so quickly. Once we reach the bottom, I think we'll still have enough energy for a couple of jumps.
Now this is real extreme. Everything's so bright with those colorful stripes on the slide, the twists. We're almost at the finish. Now this is real extreme. Everything's so bright with those colorful stripes on the slide, the twists. We're almost at the finish.
Guys, water parks and slides aren't always all fun and games. Let me tell you a secret story, but you mustn't tell anyone. The atmosphere in the water park was joyful, and it seemed like nothing could ruin the day. Suddenly, an alarm went off. The water started disappearing. At first, no one understood what was happening. But when Sheriff Dobie and I rushed to the scene, it became clear. The water levels in the pools were rapidly dropping. This was extremely dangerous, especially since our friends were sliding down the rides, and if the water disappeared completely...
The situation was really critical. We immediately realized we had to act quickly, or our friends might be in danger, especially those sliding down at high speeds. We started prioritizing and trying to figure out where exactly the water was disappearing. Soon, we discovered that there was a failure in the water supply system on one of the highest levels of the water park. Once we figured this out, I went to the fire elephants, who are always on top of things in such situations.
Meanwhile, I was organizing the rest of the help. We called the rescue service and asked our friends for help. You know, in the city of animals, you can rely on all sorts of creatures, even the most unusual rescuers. The fire elephants arrived quickly and got to work right away. But as it turned out, the elephants alone weren't enough. We needed to get the water out of the tanks before it disappeared completely.
The elephants did manage to pump out most of the water from one level, but we still couldn't let it disappear entirely. We reached out to our old friends, the giant frogs. They're great with bodies of water, and for situations like this, they're indispensable. Labrador and I came up with a plan to bring them in for installing temporary pumps. But then new challenges arose. The pumps were too bulky for some areas of the water park.
That's when I realized we needed to bring in a few more local residents who were excellent engineers. We called our team of bear mechanics, who quickly set up their workshops right at the scene. The bears crafted small mobile pumps that were perfect for installation in tight spaces where the giant pumps couldn't fit. We started placing these devices throughout the water park.
With every passing moment, we were getting closer to success, but the water was still running out, and I started to get worried about our friends, especially those sliding down the rides. I kept track of every step they took, trying to predict what might happen. To save precious time, I sent a group of our fast rabbits to monitor the state of the slides. They were so fast that they could control the situation even in the most complicated areas of the park.
Meanwhile, with the help of our wise owls, we began working on quickly restoring the water supply system. Every detail was checked to prevent further water loss. The owl, as always, was precise and careful, and after some effort, we were finally able to connect the backup water lines.
When it seemed like everything had been solved, there was one last thing to do. Make sure our friends who had been sliding the whole time weren't at risk. The rabbits helped us inform them just in time that the water levels were back to normal, and they could continue sliding safely. Meanwhile, the fire elephants kept monitoring the water supply, ensuring it didn't disappear again. Once we were sure everything was fine and everyone was safe, I felt a great sense of pride. Naturally, we managed to save everyone.
I'm going to tell you about how Sheriff Dobie and I faced a real threat in our city. It all started when we received a strange message from the residents. They began complaining about unusual events. People who drank water from the city's water source suddenly turned into frogs.
When we arrived at the scene, the situation was really tense. There were already several dozen frogs in the square, and other residents kept drinking the water, unaware that with every sip, they might also become part of this strange frog army. Labrador and I inspected the water source, and soon we realized it wasn't a coincidence. Someone had deliberately added a special potion to the water, which turned people into frogs.
As soon as we started our investigation, we found a clue. Several murky tracks leading toward an old abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. We couldn't afford to wait long, as every moment was crucial. Dobie and I rushed to the building and discovered that the culprit was our old enemy, Mr. Frogskin.
Mr. Frogskin was a master of potion making. He had clearly used his old laboratory to create this transforming potion. The laboratory was hidden in the basement of the abandoned building. When we descended, we found a massive cauldron filled with green liquid.
We began thinking about how to take down Mr. Frogskin. We needed a plan to stop him and save all those who had already turned into frogs. We called the Chemical Safety Service And our top scientists in the lab quickly helped us understand what we needed to neutralize the potion. We had to gather ingredients to create an antidote. But how could we do this when the potion was so complex? We started looking for possible components in the laboratory and found an old spell book that pointed us to a key ingredient, a rare flower with blue petals, which grew in the very center of the city.
We quickly headed there. The whole team was on the ground, and while Labrador and I searched for the flower, our friends began working to neutralize the remaining potion in the lab. But the flower turned out to be more complicated than we thought. It had to be found on the highest tree in the center of the park, and the tree was so tall that its top was hidden in the clouds.
While Dobie was searching for the flower, I didn't sit idly by. I decided to organize the rescue of those who had already turned into frogs. While the residents struggled with their transformation, I worked with our doctors and mages to find a way to return them to their human form.
When I finally reached the top of the tree, I realized that the flower was not only rare, but also extremely fragile. Its petals couldn't withstand strong winds and would quickly wither. I carefully picked it and, after climbing down the tree, brought the flower back to the lab where everyone was already waiting. With all the ingredients, we managed to create the antidote, which we quickly dissolved in water. At the moment the potion was ready, I sent it into the city's water supply. At first, nothing happened, but after a few minutes, we noticed that the residents who had already turned into frogs started returning to their human forms.
Well, here we are at the finish line. That was incredible. I thought I would never survive that descent, but we did it. Come on, Dobie, share your thoughts.
Those moments on the slide passed so quickly that I didn't even realize how we ended up on the ground. It was scary and fun at the same time, but this is definitely the best way to test your courage.
The day started peacefully. Dobie and I were sipping our morning coffee at the station, getting ready for our usual patrol. The streets were quiet, the citizens were going about their daily routines, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But everything changed when the phone rang. On the other end, we heard the trembling voice of a kindergarten teacher from Happy Tales Daycare. She was gasping in terror, almost screaming. The daycare has been taken over. A giant dinosaur broke through the entrance, roaring and not letting the children out. Then, the call was abruptly cut off. Dobie and I exchanged glances. No questions asked. We jumped into our patrol car and sped off toward the daycare at full speed.
On the way there, I tried to make sense of what I had just heard. A dinosaur? Was this some kind of joke? But the fear in the teacher's voice was too real for it to be a prank. When we arrived, all doubt disappeared. The entrance door was smashed, part of the fence was crushed, and scattered toys, torn books, and children's backpacks littered the ground. And most importantly, standing right in front of the building was a massive green dinosaur. Its skin glistened under the sun, and its red eyes gleamed menacingly. It swayed its tail as if listening to the sounds around it. From inside the daycare, we could hear the terrified cries of children. The situation was critical.
The first thing we did was assess the area. Behind the playground slide, a small group of children were huddled together, trembling. They needed to be evacuated immediately. The dinosaur noticed us and let out a deafening roar. The ground trembled beneath our feet. It stepped forward, scraping the ground with its massive claws. I took a step forward, drawing its attention. Meanwhile, Dobie started sneaking around from the other side. Our plan was simple. One distracts, the other gets inside. The dinosaur didn't give me a break. It suddenly lunged at me, but I jumped back just in time. We had to move fast.
While Labrador kept the monster occupied, I sneaked around to the back entrance. The door was locked, but through the window, I saw the teachers and children huddled in a corner. I knocked gently, signaling that I was here to help. One of the teachers opened the door, and I saw the little ones clutching each other, whimpering in fear. They told me that the dinosaur had appeared out of nowhere. It had simply smashed through the fence and started roaring, trapping everyone inside. I gestured for them to stay quiet. We needed to get them out unnoticed.
Meanwhile, I continued dodging the dinosaur's attacks. Then, I noticed something strange. A panel with buttons was glinting on its neck. This dinosaur was mechanical. Someone was controlling it. But who? And why? I didn't have time to think. I had to keep it away from the building while Dobie evacuated the children. I banged loudly on a metal trash can, drawing the dinosaur's attention. It turned its head toward me, growled, and took a step forward.
I led the children out in small groups. We moved quietly to avoid drawing the monster's attention. The teachers helped, keeping the kids calm. Once the last child was outside, we pressed against the wall, watching Labrador. He was skillfully dodging the dinosaur, but he couldn't keep it up forever. Then I noticed a huge water tank on the roof. If we could lure the dinosaur underneath it, we might be able to disable it. I signaled to Labrador. We always understood each other without words.
I immediately understood his idea. We had to lure the dinosaur directly under the tank. I took a few steps back, leading the monster toward me. As expected, it followed, roaring furiously. When it was right under the tank, Dobie gave me the final signal. At the last moment, I leaped out of the way.
I pulled the lever, and a powerful stream of water came crashing down on the dinosaur. It started jerking and sparking. We held our breath. A few seconds later, it froze, then slowly collapsed onto its side. Silence. Everyone stared at the lifeless monster. The children started clapping. The teachers sighed in relief. We did it!
As we stepped closer, I noticed a strange emblem on the dinosaur's body. It was the logo of an old laboratory that had been shut down years ago. So someone was still working on its projects. The real question was, why build a mechanical dinosaur? And why attack a daycare? We had saved the children, but we knew this was just the beginning. A new mystery had just begun, and I knew we would solve it.
This day was full of surprises. We defeated a mechanical dinosaur, saved the children, but there were too many unanswered questions. Who built this monster? Why target a daycare? And would there be another attack? But for now, our job was done. The teachers and children were safe, and Labrador and I knew if our city was ever threatened again, we would be ready.
The day started as usual. Coffee, reports, and post-inspections. Everything was calm in the city of animals. Dobie and I were about to start our morning patrol when a raccoon named Timmy burst into the station. He looked frightened, his eyes darting around, and he was out of breath. He told us that his friend, the fox Rick, had disappeared. The last time anyone saw him, he was playing a new game, Poppy Playtime 4. Timmy swore he had seen Rick literally vanish into the screen. At first, we thought it was a joke or just childish fears, but then Timmy showed us his tablet. The game's loading screen was still glowing, and there, in the reflection of a store window inside the factory, was a silhouette. It looked just like Rick. I exchanged glances with Dobie. This all seemed impossible, but we couldn't ignore it. If the game was somehow pulling players inside, we needed to figure out why. We sat down in front of the screen. The title flickered, and then the words appeared. Welcome to the Playtime Toy Factory. Enter your names to join. I typed in my name. Dobie did the same. The moment we pressed enter, the screen flashed, and darkness swallowed us.
When I opened my eyes, dim lighting surrounded us. We stood in a long corridor. Flickering lamps cast strange shadows on the walls. The air was stale, filled with dust and a strangely sweet scent, like old gummy candy. Labrador looked around. A poster on the wall read, "Welcome to Playtime Factory. Keep smiling." Below it stood a broken toy, a giant plush bear with an eerily wide grin. In the distance, we heard children's laughter. It was quiet, but it sent chills down my spine. We moved forward. The factory looked abandoned. Scattered toy parts lay on the floor, and the silence was only interrupted by the occasional creak of metal. Then we heard whispering.
Someone was there. I raised my paw, signaling Dobie to stay quiet. We carefully peeked around the corner. In the darkness, trembling, was Rick the fox. His fur was ruffled, and his wide eyes darted nervously. He said he didn't know how he got here. One moment he was just playing the game, and the next he was trapped inside. Since then, he had been hiding because they were coming for him. I wanted to ask who they were, but before I could, a loud crash echoed through the hall.
Dust rained from above. We turned sharply. At the end of the corridor, something moved in the shadows. A tall figure with long arms and glowing eyes stood motionless, watching us. It could attack at any moment. I grabbed Rick's paw and pulled him with me. We had to run. We sprinted forward, jumping over debris and broken crates. Heavy footsteps thundered behind us. The creature was chasing us.
We darted into a security room and slammed the door shut behind us. Inside, Dozens of monitors displayed different parts of the factory. On one of them, I saw the figure wandering the halls. It tilted its head as if sniffing the air. Rick told us this wasn't the only monster. The factory belonged to a strange entity that played with its visitors like they were toys. The only way out was to reach the main terminal and shut down the system.
We navigated through the toy assembly line where mechanical arms tried to grab our tails. Then we crossed a storage room filled with eerie stuffed animals that seemed to shift positions when we weren't looking. Finally, we reached the terminal, but there was a problem. A keypad locked the system. Rick remembered seeing a code somewhere, but he couldn't recall where. Then the lights began to flicker.
A scraping sound echoed behind us. We turned and saw it. A towering figure resembling a toy clown stepped out of the shadows. Its head tilted from side to side, and a wide, unsettling grin was frozen on its face. I told Dobie to find the code while I stepped forward, trying to distract the monster.
I frantically searched, tossing papers and boxes aside. The monster lunged at Labrador, its long arms reaching out. Then I saw it, numbers scrawled on the wall. The first 4 digits are 1987. I ran to the terminal.
The creature roared and charged. I barely managed to dodge. Dobie typed the code. First digit, second, third. The monster was almost upon us.
On the way there, I tried to make sense of what I had just heard. A dinosaur? Was this some kind of joke? But the fear in the teacher's voice was too real for it to be a prank. When we arrived,
The day started peacefully. Dobie and I were sipping our morning coffee at the station, getting ready for our usual patrol. The streets were quiet. The citizens were going about their daily routines, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But everything changed when the phone rang. On the other end, we heard the trembling voice of a kindergarten teacher from Happy Tales Daycare. She was gasping in terror, almost screaming. The daycare has been taken over. A giant dinosaur broke through the entrance, roaring and not letting the children out. Then, the call was abruptly cut off.